going to drive me to drink. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, it looks like we're here. And looks like I have some people hopping on. Oh my gosh, guys. Technology. Joel says, you're good to go now. I'm seeing a lot of hellos. I figured out how to connect the chat again. So I see Joel says I'm good to go now. I've got a bunch of good mornings. Kurt says good morning. So I think that I have figured out everything. Good morning, all the people that are saying hello. Oh my gosh, you guys. So huge thanks to Joel, who was working behind the scenes to help me get all of this equipment. So you'll notice, last week we had this new camera, so I was looking fancy. And so then during the live stream last week, I kicked the power, and so the power turned off, and then so we were still able to do the live stream, but without the camera, without you being able to see me, which, you don't have to see me to be able to do the exercises, but, I know, it's a little helpful. So anyway, I had kicked it, I had turned it off, and we couldn't get it back, we couldn't figure out how to turn it back on. And then I was gone all week, and Joel tried to fix it while I was gone and then couldn't, and so we're working with this consultant, and oh my gosh, it's just been crazy. So welcome to the QBO Gym locker room. This is if you are just joining us today, this is our live stream that we do every week inside of our free Facebook group, which is the QBO Gym locker room, which is your spot for hands-on practice using QuickBooks Online. The only way to watch it live and actually participate is to be in the locker room. But if you are watching this on YouTube and you would like to, we always record this, put it on YouTube later. And if you want to join the locker room, of course, the links will be down below. So inside the locker room is where you can get this is your spot for hands-on practice using QuickBooks Online. Hands-on. That's all we do all the time is hands-on practice. As a member of the locker room, you get a free Getting Started course that automatically came with you when you joined the locker room. If you don't know how to access it, then send us an email to support@fastandeasyqbo.com. And we'll figure out why. You got an email after you joined that gave you the link to your course, but if you don't know if you didn't get the email, you don't know how to find it or whatever, support@fastandeasyqbo.com, and we can take a look at your account and see what is happening there. Also, as a member of the group, you have access to over 100 free exercises. People are always asking me where to find the exercises. And so here's what you do. Inside the group, there is a featured section. Now, my layout is slightly different because I am an admin, but you should be able to find the featured section. Looks something like this. There's also a tab here. If you're on your phone, it might be in the little hamburger up in the upper left-hand corner. And then there is a post here that has the links to all of the exercises, okay? So that's how you get your free exercises. And then by participating in our weekly live stream, you also get a free exercise of the week. Now, the exercise of the week is part of our paid subscription product, which is the QBO Gym. So again, the Facebook group is the locker room. The paid subscription product is called the gym. Let me just make that a little smaller. There we go. And inside the gym, this is, whereas the exercises that you get, that like the free exercises that you get, those are feature-based exercises, meaning you want to learn a particular feature in QBO, great, here's an exercise, okay? The QBO gym is it's an environment. It is a simulated environment where you get to actually be a bookkeeper. So you can actually think of when you're working with your fictitious business owner, you can think of it as like your first client. Okay, so every month you are going to work through all of the things that you would do as a bookkeeper, and all of these things are going to happen to Craig. Craig is our fictitious business owner. Things are going to happen in his business, and you're going to have to figure out like what you need to do, and you're going to actually do them in QuickBooks Online. Again, hands-on, hands-on, hands-on. That's what we do, is we're all about hands-on. So in the warm-up section, you are going to do all of the things you would normally do when you first sit down to work with a client. You're going to process the bank feeds. You're going to see what money has come in, what money Craig has spent. Then in cardio, you're going to do all of the things that Craig has asked you to do. So he's going to ask you to send an invoice or ask you to pay a bill. Maybe he has gone to the bank and deposited a paycheck or deposited checks, and so you're going to have to process those. In the strength training, every month we have a theme where there is a specific a group of scenarios that are kind of related to a theme. So in the first month, it is estimates and purchase orders. In the second month, it is projects. In the third month, it's about billable charges. So each month you have a focus area, but you're still going to do all of these things. And then you're going to have cool down, where you are actually reconciling the bank accounts and running reports. And often those reports are going to be related to what you have learned previously. Okay. So that is the QBO gym. Now, everything that you do in the QBO gym is tracked in your Booksmatch dashboard. Okay. Your Booksmatch dashboard looks like this. I should have had it open earlier. Looks like this. And if you're not a member of the gym, you still have a Booksmatch dashboard, but this whole section won't be filled out, okay? So you'll just have a button to contact or a button to access your courses, okay? In the QBO gym, everything that you do is tracked. The skills that you learn and verify are tracked, and they're tracked in skill groups. So Luz here, who happens to be the top one that I picked today, has verified 320 skills. And in these 10 skill groups, we can just click on one and see the details of what she has worked on. And then you can see how you can compare to everyone in the pool. You can see some other training activity down here at the bottom. And then what we do is we take all of that information and we really look at 3 very specific metrics, okay? So one metric is the breadth of knowledge that you have achieved, okay? That is this knowledge metric right here, okay? So this is going wide, all of the things the skills that you have worked on. Then we also track your consistency, okay? Your consistency is how frequently you're going in and you are upskilling. I'll come back to that in just a second. And then the third one is speed. And speed is not how quickly you do a particular exercise, but how many exercises you have done in a particular week. Okay, we take all 3 of those metrics and we rank you based on those 3 things. So Luz here is currently categorized as an exceptional talent. Now, once you have, when you are a member of the gym, you have the opportunity to, and I'm not looking at at your profile here, but you have a little button that says open to work. And if you want, you can you can turn on all of these stats so that businesses who are looking for bookkeepers can find you and can see all of this. Now, the reason that I mentioned that the consistency is the highest thing that we track is because we had a recruiter specifically say to us that the hardest thing, or the most challenging and frustrating thing about her job was when she would reach out to people and they would not respond. They would not, they would say they weren't actually looking for a job. They weren't looking for work. And she said it was so frustrating. Like she said, I wasted so much time reaching out to people who weren't actually looking for work. And so that recruiter actually said, I want them to check in every week. Like every week, I want them to like click a little, flip a switch or say something like, I'm still looking. Well, we thought that every week was a little excessive. So we said, okay, well, every 2 weeks, we want you to actually go in and upskill. The problem is, for some people, like Luz here, for some people, they've already done everything. And so because they've already done everything, that there's nothing left to do. And so their consistency would drop down. And that's why we have the exercise of the week. The exercise of the week is really an opportunity for the people like Luz who have done everything to indicate, oh, yep, I'm still here, I'm still here, I'm still here, okay? But it also has the added benefit of being able to, like, we're able to highlight new cool features and ways to use things. But then also, we welcome all of you guys who are not members of the gym. You can come on these weekly live streams and you can learn along with us in the exercise of the week, okay? If you are a member of the gym, the exercise of the week is unlocked when you have achieved 250 points, okay? All of our courses, our certification courses, our gym, everything is gamified. And so you actually, as you're doing things, you actually earn points. And once you have achieved 250 points in the gym, then the exercise of the week is unlocked. The reason it's unlocked the reason we wait is because we don't want, because you don't need it. Like there's still way more for you to do. Like you could do any of the exercises and your consistency will be high. The reason we unlock it at all for 250 rather than waiting for you guys to be done is because everyone wants it. Like everyone wants, they want access to that. So that's what we found, this happy medium, and we unlock it at 250 points. Okay. All right. So that is just kind of like my intro about what we're doing today. Let me just hop into the chat real quick and see. Alrighty. Okay. Oh yeah, so Joel says I'm usually around. So welcome newbies. Okay, let's see if there's any questions. Somebody's having a technical issue. Yes, if you have any technical issues, please email support@fastandeasyqbo.com and we will take care of you. Let's see. Okay, let's see, any other questions? I signed up for this yesterday, but I haven't gotten an email. Yes, email support@fastandeasyqbo.com and we will take a look. Make sure you check your junk, your spam folders. There's all sorts of things. We may have tried to send it to you and it bounced. Sometimes people opt out and then we can never email them again, including if you buy courses. So we can look inside your account and we can look and see what's going on there. Okay, so Kara says, and I have to put my thing back on. Kara says, tell us about the conference you just got back from. So the conference it's called Scaling New Heights, and it's put on by Woodard. And Woodard is an accounting consulting company, so you can actually get a membership. And I'm gonna look. I tried to connect with them while I was there, and I wasn't able to. So I gotta follow up with them and see if they would be a good resource for you. But you can get a membership and have access to all sorts of training and coaching and best practices and all sorts of that. Corey joined, so she might be able to, after she's been in a while and she can see what the membership is like, then maybe we can talk a little bit more about that. But I did learn, so I attended, there was so much that there were best practice things, there were like industry things, there were workshops on like how to use QBO. And one of those workshops that I attended by Alicia Katz-Pollock was about reporting. And I was so excited to learn. I was so excited to learn what customer hierarchy means. Like, I have seen this in the new reports thing. I've seen it and I never understood what it meant. And she showed it. I was like, oh my gosh, worth the price of admission. Worth the price of admission. So I'm going to show you today, but I'm going to show it to you at the end. Okay. So that was the conference. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into our exercise today. And we are going to be talking about creating a bank rule. Okay. So if you have the exercise of the week, then you remember that you have to use the link inside of the exercise of the week in order to get credit for it. You can't use the link that Joel's going to put it in the chat, or he already has. So you can use that link, to follow along, and I would encourage you to do that, but you won't get BooksMatch credit for it unless you do it in BooksMatch or inside the course. Okay, so just so you know. Okay. All right, so what we are going to be talking about today are bank rules. Now, last week, we talked about processing bank feeds and why we process bank feeds and the process. So the bank is just keeping track of, historical and present records of like what's going on. In QBO, and the bank is just money in, money out, okay? But in QBO, we have to categorize all of that money in and money out, okay? So that's the purpose of the bank feeds, is to make sure that what we have in QBO is what's actually happening in the bank. We compare those two. Hopefully, the ideal situation is that we match them, okay? So we talked about the bank feeds last week. This week, we're going to be talking about bank rules. Now, what bank rules are automated processes where you can categorize based on rules that you set up, okay? So let's take a look at that. You can use the link there. I've already clicked it here. I already have it open. Now, this particular exercise comes from it is a Pro Advisor challenge, okay? Let me read the scenario first, okay? So Craig would like you to categorize specific purchases from one of his vendors as promotional materials, okay? So we talked about bank feeds last time. It's all about, we're categorizing the money that has come in, that has come out. In this case, this is money out, okay? So it's specific purchases from one of his vendors, okay? He wants to review these purchase transactions before adding them to his books. So when we create bank rules, we have the opportunity to just automatically add them to the books, so we're not seeing them at all. Or we can say, oh yes, I want you to categorize it, but I want to make sure that I check it first, okay? So we're going to check it first. So here are the instructions from the exercise. We're going to create a bank rule that applies to purchases under $25 from Hicks Hardware. And we're going to categorize the transactions as promotional and not automatically add them to Craig's books. Okay. So this is a Pro Advisor challenge which is provided by Intuit. Inside your QBO A account. Now, if you're brand new, if you're inside the group and you've gone through the Getting Started course, hopefully you know how to get your free QBO A account. That's QBO Accountant account, okay? You get your accountant account, and then inside your accountant account is this training, okay? So let me show you what I mean. Here is an accountant account. I can tell that I'm in an accountant account because it says accountant up in the upper left-hand corner, because the left navigation bar is gray, and because it's separated between my practice and your practice and your books, okay? So that's how you can tell that you're in an accountant account. So when you're in an accountant account, on the left-hand side, you have this Pro Advisor and then training. Okay, so we're going to go to training, and this is the training library. Those of you who are wanting to pursue certifications, this is where you go to actually take the test, and this is also where you go to learn the information if you're not taking our courses. Okay. So the personalized path, you can set a goal, and then based on the goal that you tell them, they'll feed you which trainings match that goal. The certification hub is where you actually take the test, and then the training library is actually all of the training, and that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to go to the training library. And you'll notice that there is, it says product training here, and then this section, see how there's this little arrow here? That means that it's open. So I'm going to close that real quick just so you can see that inside product training, there's actually 4 different products that they provide training on: QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Payments, QuickBooks Online Payroll, and QuickBooks Time. Okay, but then there is also all of this other training. So foundational skills, advising clients. Okay, so all of that is available in the training library. So I'm going to open up QuickBooks Online again, because that's what we are doing. You'll notice that there are these different tiles. This is kind of the grouping of the information that you're learning. Okay, so we're going to go back to the exercise. Notice that, so it says in the left navigation bar, so this is just like how to find this if you want to find the Pro Advisor, the Intuit version of this exercise. Okay, so left navigation bar, we click training, training library, QuickBooks Online. Now we're going to go to the banking tile. Okay, so I'm going to click here. See, there's all these different tiles. My head's covering it up a little bit, but there is the banking tile. Okay, so here's the banking tile. And then you'll notice that, again, here's this little arrow that tells me that this is expanded, so I'm going to close this up. And you'll notice that there are beginner, intermediate, and advanced level skills. The beginner skills are just the basics. The intermediate level skills, these are the ones that are actually tested on the basic level certification test, or what they call at Intuit, they call the core certification. So if I hover over this little guy right here, you'll notice that it says tested in the QuickBooks Online exam. Okay, so that's the basic certification. And then, excuse me, and then advanced, if I hover over it, you'll notice it says tested in the QuickBooks Online advanced exam. Okay, so this particular exercise that we're doing is intermediate. Okay, so here it says intermediate skills to expand. So I'm going to go to intermediate by clicking the right thing. Hello, there we go. Okay. And then these are the individual lessons that are in there. So we're going to click on 3, creating bank rules. Okay, so right here, creating bank rules. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. Okay, so here is the creating bank rules. And if you look on the right-hand side, you'll notice that there is an option here that says take our Pro Advisor challenge. So they're teaching you all about bank rules, and then they're going to have this challenge for you, which is kind of like an exercise, not. Sometimes you can click directly on this and it will take you there. Other times you have to just scroll through the entire thing. So here's an example. So notice how this one has 2 tabs here. So this continue training is grayed out until you actually click on the other one. Okay, so that's how that works. So now continue training, so I can keep going, scrolling. Sometimes there is a knowledge check, which is like a little quiz. Here's another one that has tabs. Okay. All sorts of stuff about bank rules. Okay. And there's no knowledge check this time. All right, so here is the Pro Advisor Challenge. They have the task, which is what we call our scenario. Then they tell you what the results should be, what it should look like at the end. And then under our solution, they tell you how to get there, but without any pictures or anything. And then sometimes they have this little having trouble, which tells you like maybe what to look for if you didn't set it up correctly. Okay. Alrighty, so that's how to do that. But so what we do is we take that exercise and put it in our signature format, which is what you see right here, which we like a lot better for a lot of reasons. And we're gonna go through our version. So it looks like this. Again, Joel put it in the chat, so hopefully you guys have access to it. And so the very first thing we have to do is we have to be in the sample company. Okay, to get to the sample company, you're going to go to this little, we have called this the gear icon. Forever, this has been called the gear icon. This year in the training, they have changed they're now calling it the settings cog. So a new term that is being bandied about. Okay, the settings cog or the gear icon. And then we're going to go right here to sample company. Again, you'll only see this if you are in an accountant's version of QBO. So I'm going to load the sample company. When I do that, it actually logs me out of QuickBooks Online. And so you don't want to do that if you are taking the test, because you'll be in the middle of the test, and if you load the sample company, you lose your test. So if you're in our courses, we teach you how to avoid that. We teach you like how to have them actually open, at once. But for our purposes, we don't need to keep it open. So, okay, so we're just going to click continue. Oh boy, I froze there. Okay. All right, and here we are in the sample company, our best friend here, Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. Okay, now going back to our exercise. If you, so this is what we just did, okay? So now here we are in the exercise. Here again is the reminder of the scenario, okay? We're gonna create a rule that for purchases under $25 from Hicks Hardware, they should be categorized as promotional, okay? And we don't want to automatically add them to Craig's book. So this is what we're doing. Now, if you have the Scribe extension, the Chrome extension called Scribe, then you will have this little button that says Guide Me. Now, when I did my presentation, let's see, if I manage extensions, aha, it did open it in another screen. All right, good. When I did my presentation at Scaling New Heights, I showed this, and I'll have to remember to always show it here. So there's a Chrome extension, it looks like this. It's called Scribe AI Documentation, SOPs, and I don't know, screenshots or something. This one here, and when you have it, it is this little red, there's the logo right there. So if you have that extension and you have the sample company already open, then when you click this button that says Guide Me, it will open the exercise and the sample company side by side, okay? So this is, and then I'm gonna just make this a little bigger so you can see it. Unfortunately, I cannot make the text of this side bigger for you other than just scrolling like this. But hopefully you can see it. So that's how I get them to be side by side, okay? All right, so now that we've got that, let's go ahead and continue with our exercise, okay? So from the left navigation bar, we're going to hover over transactions, then select rules. Okay, so transactions right here, and we're going to go to rules. Okay, if this is the first time in this area, you're going to receive a welcome screen, which provides more information about rules. We're going to skip it, and so we're just going to click go to rules, which is right here. Okay, and this is what it would look like if you had a list of rules. Okay, so if you're doing a cleanup, one of the things that you want to check is the rules to see, you know, if they're frequently set up in a crazy way and you have to clean it up. So anyway, so you would see a list of rules here, but what we're going to do is we're going to create a new rule. So I can make this bigger again. So here we are, making a new rule. We're going to click new rule right here. Okay. In the what do you want to call this rule field, we're going to type Hicks Hardware Promo. Hicks Hardware Promo. Okay. Oh, let's see. Okay. Alrighty, and let's see. Confirm the next two drop downs say money out and all bank transactions. Now let me just back up for a minute and remind us of what we are doing here, okay? Because I don't want to get too deep into the actual instructions. I want to make sure that you understand what we're doing. Last week, we manually processed the bank feeds. The bank feeds are when you connect the bank activity to what you've already done in QuickBooks Online, and what's happening is you have a screen where you have all of the bank activity. This money came in, this money went out. This money came in, this money went out, okay? And so you're now wanting to match each of those things to a transaction in QuickBooks Online. If the transaction doesn't already exist in QuickBooks Online, then you add it. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So sorry, let me back up. Okay, so that's processing the bank feeds. Now, what a rule does is the rule can specify certain conditions that will always be, things will always be categorized a certain way. If you know that every time you go to Starbucks, you're getting coffee for the office. No, let's do Dunkin' Donuts, because I know for a fact that they have like those carafes. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know any of these things, but they have like those carafes, right, that you can get. Okay, so let's say every morning your office person goes to Dunkin' Donuts and gets one of those boxes of coffee and brings it to the office. Okay, and that happens every morning. Okay. Well, you don't want to have to categorize like every morning that is office coffee. So you set up, you can set up a rule that will always categorize every time those daily Dunkin' Donuts trips as office coffee. Okay. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We're creating a rule that says every time such and such happens, that's called the condition. Every time such and such happens, then we're going to categorize it this way. Okay. Now, every morning, Sally goes to buy this box of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, right? Well, that box of coffee, I don't know, how much is it? Is it $15? Maybe that's right. I don't drink coffee. I don't know however much it is, right? So you can say that you could always say every Dunkin' Donut purchase is coffee, but maybe it's not. Like maybe you're bringing in some, oh my gosh, I was so close. Corey says it's $14.99 and I said $15. I cannot believe I got it so close. Okay. So anyway, so you're paying $15. Well, one day Sally goes to Dunkin' Donuts and she gets $100 worth of stuff. Well, that's not always going to be that's not always going to be just the coffee, right? That's probably going to be donuts for like some kind of executive meeting, okay? So in that case, you don't want to say that every time we go to Dunkin' Donuts, it's office coffee, because sometimes it's donuts. So you can say every time it's this exact price, it's $14.99. You can be pretty sure that that's the office coffee. And then you can say, but if it's more than that, I want to review it. Okay, so that's what we're doing when we're creating rules, is we are saying, okay, if this is what appears in the bank feed, it's going to be this category. And then that saves you time. But then you can also say, well, but I want to review it under certain circumstances. Okay, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page so we know what we're actually doing as we are creating the bank feed. Okay, all right, back to the exercise. Speech over, rant over. Okay. Okay, Lauren asked, let me just go real quick. So Lauren asked, where can we access these live presentations recordings? So the recordings are in two places. If you want to see the raw recording, like when I blow my nose and we have technical difficulties and like all of that stuff, it's always available inside the locker room. Just go to events. You can always watch the recordings. If you don't want to see me blow my nose and you don't want to see the guffaws and the technical difficulties and all that, the pretty edited version is on our YouTube channel. Okay. And you can go to fastandeasyqbo.com. Joel, I don't know if you have that link easy. It's fastandeasyqbo.com/YouTube with the Y and the T capitalized. And that will take you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we have not only on the YouTube channel, we have not only these live streams, but we also have Jen, who is our, I never remember her title, but she records all the exercise videos. So we have all the exercise videos recorded there, and also special videos that I do, presentations, different things. So there we go. Thank you, Joel. But I think it has to be capital Y, capital T. I think. You can try that link, but I'm pretty sure it does. Okay. So Sherry had a question. In rules, when you have a split, you cannot mark a portion of it as billable and put a customer on it, or am I missing something? I think you can. We're not going to talk about splits, but let's take a look at it while we're doing it just now. Like, I think you can. I don't know. That would be my just thinking about it. All right. Let's go back to the actual exercise now that we're all on the same page, and we can get back to business here. Okay, so we're creating the rule. We gave it a name, okay? The name is what's going to appear here in the list, and you always want your name to be descriptive of what the rule is, so you can see at a glance just from the name what it does. Okay, so Hicks Hardware Promo, maybe that's an okay name, or maybe it's going to be Hicks Hardware under 25, Hicks less than $25 equals promo would probably be a better title actually for it, I think. But anyway, so what do you want to call this rule? Okay, now you have to decide whether the rule should apply to money out or money in transactions. It cannot be both. If you have a similar thing, then you have to set up two separate rules. Okay, so in this case, this is an expense, and so it is money out. You can specify which bank accounts. Okay, so if it's out of one account for something, then it can be this rule. But if we use a different account, so this would be more like credit cards. Okay, so if you had individual credit cards set up, and if Sally's buying it at Dunkin' Donuts, that with this credit card, it's going to be coffee. But if Mary goes and buys it, or Joe, I don't want to be sexist here, if Joe goes to buy it buy something, it's not the daily coffee. Okay, so that's how you could separate it by bank accounts. In our exercise, we want it to be all bank accounts. Okay. All right. So then the next thing is, what all do we want to include? So include the following. We have the option of any or all. So do any of the following conditions be met? That means that if there's 3 conditions, only one of them has to be met. Okay. All means if there's 3 conditions, all 3 of them have to be true at the same time. Okay. So our exercise, so we want them to be all. That's interesting. Oh yeah, all was automatically selected. Okay. I should change this exercise. Joel, can you just make me a note? Like we should make sure that this says all also, because we're gonna have multiple ones here. I don't think that, yeah, it seems like that was skipped in the exercise. Okay, so that's that. And then we have, what is it that you want to look for? Do you want it to be the description or the bank text? The bank text is the text that the bank provides. And we learned, I don't know, Corey, were you in that session where he talked about how many characters that is? Shoot, I can't remember. There's a specific number of characters in the description, and they set that number of characters back in like 1955 when they first started doing this, and they have never changed it. So like the guy that was on stage showed us like, here's exactly the header information that comes across. Anyway, so bank text is the actual text from the bank. Description is QBO's, they kind of decide, it's like a shorter version, like they look at the bank feed and they like make it into like something that's easier. Bank text is usually a better bet when you are doing a rule, because you never know. I mean, description is just how QBO interprets the bank text. So you want it to be like the actual bank text. So that's why this first one is. Okay. So the bank text contains, okay, so for contains, we have the option if it contains this, if it does not contain this, or is exactly this thing. Be careful of is exactly, because it doesn't, you have to be very careful that does not change. Sometimes that bank text will have a date on it that's associated with like whatever the thing that happened, and so you will never have it be exact, right? And so you want to make sure that this is correct. All right, so contains is what we already have selected. So now we're going to say that in the text field, it actually says Hicks hardware. It is unusual, I think, for the bank text to actually have the full name of the establishment like that. It's rare that in my opinion, I don't know, Corey can tell me if it's different in her experience, but in my experience, it rarely says the full name of the establishment. It's like some shortened version of it. Okay. So again, you want to make sure that you see the bank record first when you're making this rule, so you know how it's going to come across. All right, so that's our first condition. So the first thing is the bank text includes Hicks hardware. But remember, we're also saying these are going to be the $25. I think it's if it's under $25, we want it to be promotion. Okay, so now we're going to add the second condition. Okay, so the second condition, so we clicked add condition right here. Okay, now this description is based on the amount. Okay, so we want the amount right here. If the amount, so our choices are if it doesn't equal a certain number, if it equals a certain number, so that's to the penny, so watch out for that. That's equals means to the penny, is greater than, okay, so that's, notice there is no greater than or equals to. Like if you wanted greater than or equals to, you would have to set up the rule differently. But so if it's greater than, you be careful of like the number that you're putting in because if you want it to be greater than or equal to $25, you have to have is greater than $24.99 in order to capture the $25, right? So let's see what our exercise says. Our exercise says we're just going to say $25 and we want it to be less than. So if it's less than $25, so that means it starts at $24.99. Okay, so we're going to put in the value field 25. Okay, so these are the conditions. This is the criteria, and both of these things have to be true. If it's from Hicks Hardware, but it is $100, this rule isn't going to capture it. If it's less than $25, but it's from a different vendor, this rule isn't going to capture it. Okay, so because we selected all right here, both of these conditions have to be true. So that's our if, that in our if then statement. If these things are true, then what do we want to do? And the exercise says that we want to categorize them as promotional and not automatically add them to the books. Now, before we go on to the then, notice that there is this little option that says test rule. So if you currently have bank feeds that are waiting to be processed, you can test this rule against those bank feeds. Okay, that's what this little test rule is. It's not in the exercise, but let's go ahead and test it and see what happens. Okay, so it found that there's one transaction in that for review that falls under, that contains Hicks Hardware and is less than $25. So there's one transaction in there that meets this criteria. Okay, so that's just an FYI for us. Okay, so now we're going to say, all right, now what are we going to do about this? Okay, so we are in the category field. We're going to select promotional. Well, first of all, right here, it says an expense. We want to make sure that this is an expense. We have all of these other money out transactions that it could be. Expense is going to be the most common. Okay, so it is an expense. And Joel, we should add that to the exercise too, so that it says, we make sure that we notice or point out that this is that. Okay. And then in the category field right here, we're going to select promotional. Okay, so I'm just going to type it. I don't know where it is. Okay, so promotional. Okay, now somebody Sherry Lynn was asking about splits. So it looks like in rules, this is going to change, I'm sure. In rules, you cannot, you can't assign customer, or you can't, oh, well, you can assign customers. Let's see. Ah, I see. So what you were asking was, can you assign part of the split to one customer and another part of the split to another customer? And it looks like the answer is no. So you're right. You're not going crazy, and I was wrong. So yeah. So what this split is if, let's say, okay, so who's going to Dunkin' Donuts? Sally's going to Dunkin' Donuts. She's getting the coffee, and she always gets one thing. Or she always gets two specific things. She always gets, I don't know, coffee and another thing. Okay, so you could split that up and say one is the office coffee and whatever the other thing she would be buying at Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know. I lost my analogy, guys. Analogies only go so far, right? Or stories only go so far. Anyway, so yeah, so you can split it up either by percentage or by dollar amount, but that's not part of the exercise. Okay, so we're not splitting. And let's see, how do I close my split? We're not going to split. There we go. Okay, so we're not going to split. Yeah, and it looks like another thing you cannot do is in the rules is you can't make it billable, which Sherry Lynn also pointed out. So I imagine that is going to come. I mean, you could give feedback if you think that that's a good idea. If you have a client and you're running into that you need it to be that way, you can certainly give feedback to Intuit. I don't know how many people need that. So anyway, all right, so what we're doing now, Sherry Lynn says she has. Okay, great. I imagine that in the very near future, the entire rules experience is going to be redesigned. That's something that actually I picked up from Scaling New Heights. Like all of the, there's so much like AI stuff that's happening with processing transactions that I imagine that they are behind the scenes furiously creating a better way for us to do rules. So I imagine that's the feedback that they're getting of like changes to the current experience might not happen because I suspect that they're rebuilding a giant other thing that they're gonna, I don't know, maybe it's gonna be at QuickBooks Connect. It's now called Intuit Connect. But yeah. Okay, back to our exercise. All right, so in the payee field, so now what we're doing, just as a reminder, so we've taken the information from the bank feed and we're now creating an expense, okay? And so the expense has to have all of the things associated with it that an expense normally would, okay? And so it has the category. Now they just recently, like just within the last month and a half, added the ability to add items in the bank feeds and not just categories. They took that away in the sample company. I don't know if it was ever in the rules because I didn't even think to check. But anyway, so now here we are. We're adding the payee, which is going to be Hicks Hardware. Why do you have to do it twice? Because the first time you did it, you were just picking it up from the description. Now you're saying you're actually creating the expense in QuickBooks Online. So you want to make sure that it has the correct payee, okay? All right, if this expense were associated with a specific customer, then you could select that here. That's not part of the exercise, okay? If you wanted to add tags for this expense, you could, but that's not part of the exercise. You could, let's see, assign more. You could replace the bank memo. Oh, actually, this is a good one because the bank memo is sometimes filled with garbage and filled like it's filled with like the date sometimes, and so you don't want to have the same date, so sometimes you have to replace the bank memo. And if you say also keep existing bank memo, they'll actually smush them together. Like whatever you say here, I think goes first, and then it'll smush the actual bank text afterwards. Alicia Katz-Pollock is a big fan of always keeping the original bank memo or the original bank text so that you can search for it later. So she's a big fan of that. Okay, all right, and then here is the last part, which is to auto add. Now we talked last week about how your whole goal is to match to transactions that already exist in QuickBooks Online. The correct workflow is for you to do everything in QuickBooks Online and then match the bank feed just to make sure that you've done it right. But more and more people are just living in the bank feeds and just creating everything directly from the bank feeds because the bank feed like has all the information. Why should you retype it? I see where people think that that's a good use of my time is to do this. So but you want to be careful. You have to be really, really, really sure of yourself if you want it to auto add the transaction without a person looking at it. People get into trouble, business owners get into trouble all the time because they keep auto add turned on. Why this is defaulted on and not defaulted off, I couldn't tell you. But business owners get into trouble all the time because they auto add because they think it's going to save them time, when actually it turns out that their bank rules weren't set up correctly, and now it's adding all of these transactions and creating a giant mess, which they then have to pay Corey $1 million, and all of you guys in the cleanup course, they have to pay you $1 million to clean it up. So anyway, so in this case, we're going to turn off. We do not want to automatically add it in the books. We want it to stay in the bank feed transactions so that you can confirm that they did it correctly. Okay, so now we're going to click save. Okay, and here it is. I'm just going to squish this to the side so you can see here. So here you would have all your lists of all of the rules that you set up. Now, one thing that I'll tell you, it's not part of this exercise, but you can click and drag the, if you have a bunch of rules here, you can click and drag them and turn them in. It will always go in the order of the first one that's here. So that's why it says you can reorder the rules to change a rules priority. Okay, so and then if you ever need to go back and change it, you can click edit, and then you can fix the rule, or you can just delete the bank rules. And if you delete the rules, it does not do anything to the transactions that the rules were already applied to. Anyway, okay, so let's go back. So now we're going to go back to the transactions. So this is the rule. We're going to go back to the transactions and see how the rule applied to the transactions that needed to be reviewed. Okay, so I'm just going to go, for those of you who are new, in case you didn't realize this. So on the left navigation bar, okay, we have, if I hover over transactions, I have all these different places to go. So this is called the Transaction Center. So I would click here to go to the Transactions Center. But each of these is a tab inside the Transaction Center. Okay? So notice bank transactions, app transactions, app transactions. Okay? So each of these are, it's all the same. Okay? So here I am in my rules. I'm going to go to bank transactions, which is the same place I would get to if I had selected it from the left navigation bar. We have pop-ups all over the place in the sample company, so I'm going to click that. Okay, so if I had clicked here, okay, it would take it. Also, in the sample company, bank transactions is actually bookmarked, and so you can get to it right here. Okay, but this is all the same. So here are the rules. Here's where I just was. Here are the bank transactions. And I'm going to close. We're actually done with this exercise, so I'm going to click this to close it. And you can see better. Oh my gosh, guys. Can you see? My screen froze. Let me go back here and back here. All right, I hope you guys could see that. Because on my screen, okay. All right, so on my screen, the thing froze a little bit. All right, so here we are. We covered all of this last week, how to process all of these bank feeds. Okay, so if you're not familiar with this screen and what you need to do, watch the recording from last week. Thank you, Teresa, for letting me know you can see just fine. I don't know, my screen share froze on my end, so I wasn't sure if it froze also on your end. Okay, so we talked all about this last week, so you can watch the recording for that. We talked about matches. We talked about what to do if there's two matches. Okay, now look right here. Okay, here is a transaction from Hicks Hardware. What we're actually looking at here is the description. This is not what came from the bank. Okay, this is what QBO like interpreted, like made it a, oh, it did freeze. Okay, so hopefully it's better now. Hopefully it's back now. All right, so the, what was I saying? All right, so this is the description. The description is not exactly what came from the bank, but we can change that. If we click this little, they call it the baby gear. The trainers call it the baby gear. I guess it's a different settings icon, the table. I don't know what they're calling it now. Different cog, the small cog. I don't know what they're calling. But if you click this, you can actually, there's a little thing here that says show bank details. And what that does is that it changes from what QBO interprets it and what it actually says. Okay, so it actually says, and if I go to Hicks Hardware, okay, so here, this is what the bank actually said, and it's less than $25. So it applied this rule that says, oh, this is promotional. Okay, so now I have the opportunity to add it. Let me just click it right here. If I go, okay, so yeah, so this is what Sherilyn was saying earlier, is the bank rules, you can't make it billable, but inside the bank feed you can make it billable. And then also the split, if you do the split, yep. If you do the split, you can have two separate customers and mark them billable. You can't do that in the rule. So very good. I'm glad you brought that up, Sherilyn. Okay. All right. So that is our exercise today, and that is bank rules. Grid icon. Yeah. That's okay. All righty. So that is bank rules. Once you have done the exercise in, so here we go back to the exercise of the week. Okay, so those of you who are in the exercise of the week in the gym, you go to, you click here to load up the exercise that you just did, and then you click here and you get your little ka-ching, yay, it adds points. I'm not getting any points because I'm in the my admin backend one. Okay, and then you also get a marketing prompt that you can use to promote yourself on social media. I'm going to go over the marketing prompt in just a minute. Before I do that, I'm going to show you real quick the cool thing that I learned at Scaling New Heights. All right, and let me see. Somebody asked, let's see. So June, I'm not sure if this was a question. Oops, sorry, clicked the wrong one. June, I don't know if this was a question or if you were just talking to somebody. Rules can be for money in or money out. Yes, they can be money in or money out. They cannot be both. Okay. Let's see. And all right, Joel posted the marketing prompt, but I'm going to do that in just a second because I want to, before we leave the sample company, show you what I learned from Alicia at Scaling New Heights. And I'm going to create an exercise that demonstrates this, but I just wanted to show you because I was so excited. Like I literally whooped and hollered when she said it in her breakout session. I was like, whoa, I was like, oh my gosh, worth the price of admission. So, okay, so here we go. Now, if you guys are new and you're not familiar with the if you're not familiar with reports yet, or the new modern reports, don't worry about it. Like, there will be an exercise at some point where I go into detail. I just wanted to show you guys. Okay, so here I'm going to go into reports, and I'm going to just select profit and loss by customer. And this is an old one. This is not the new modern one. Let's see, new enhanced experience. I thought they were not doing new enhanced experience anymore. Let's see, let's find a good one. Sales by customer type detail. Let's try that one. I don't have any customer types set up. Maybe that's not a good one either. All right. I want to have one that already has invoices. Open invoices. This one should probably have it. Open invoices. Okay. All right. So, so here is open invoices. Okay. And notice that, so this is sorting by A, B, C, D, F, G. Oh, interesting how Freeman, okay. All right. So this is an open invoices report, and you'll notice that it is by customer, okay? So all of these are expanded. I think if I click, I can collapse them all, okay? So now I can see. And notice that it has Freeman Sporting Goods and Shara Barnett down at the bottom. These two are the ones that have sub-customers, okay? So Freeman has this Ocean View Road and this Twin Lane, and Shara Barnett has this one that is Barnett Design, okay? All right, so let me go and see if I can. I don't want filter. I don't want general. Let's see. I want grouping. This is not going to be a good one either. I want one that, I'm trying to think which one she showed in the exercise. It was a oh yeah, purchases by product service detail. Okay, let me do all dates. Okay, so these are grouped by product and service, okay? And also it's hierarchy. So actually I can show, it just is about what this hierarchy thing means. So I can actually show you this, I think, with products and services too. So with hierarchy, it shows, look how it's indented. Design is a category, fountains is the product, and then pump is a subproduct of these things. So hierarchy means like this. If I select, I think, let's see if I have an option for product and service that's not hierarchy, okay? So if I have product and service that's not hierarchy, it's just gonna show each one individually as a list, see? So now it no longer has that step down. It's the lowest one is its own row. That's the difference between just the regular one and the hierarchy. So, so here we also have account and account hierarchy. So account would just be the name of the account, regardless if it's a sub-account. Hierarchy would show it as steps. Group by vendor is the same thing. So let's do group by vendor. That one doesn't have any. Oh, these don't have any sub-customers, so it doesn't. That's not a good one. But anyway, that's the difference between hierarchy and not having a hierarchy on reports. All right, okay. So now let's go back to the marketing prompt. I didn't want to go through like the whole marketing thing and then come back and show you that. So that's what that is. I was super excited to learn that. All right, so let's go back to the exercise, not the exercise, but in the exercise of the week, and talk about the marketing prompt. Okay, I'll make it a little bit bigger. Now, when you are in the gym, you earn marketing prompts. Okay, as you work through the gym, marketing prompts are unlocked. And the reason that we have these marketing prompts is because so many people were saying, they were saying, I know that I'm supposed to post on social media to build my business, but I don't know what to say. Okay, they're like, I don't know what to say, like they have to come up with these creative ideas. And so I was like, guys, you're doing these exercises all the time. Just post about the exercise. So now the gym includes, and the exercise of the week, it all includes marketing prompts so that you can start a conversation based on what you just learned. And Joel posted it in the chat for those of you who are not already in the gym. If you're in the gym, then it is in the exercise of the week. Okay, so here's the prompt. Okay, so you learned what we just did was creating bank rules. Here's a sample post. Hey business owner, yes, bank rules in QuickBooks Online can save you a ton of time, but if you're doing it wrong, it will cost you much more time later cleaning it up and unraveling the mess. Remember we just talked about that, guys. So let's take a look together and make sure yours are under control. DM me today. Okay, now, so that's your marketing prompt. Joel has put it in the chat for those of you who are live. Now, the question always is, well, what do I do with this marketing prompt? How do I use this marketing prompt? And for that, we recommend only one we are not let me just take this off real quick. We are not a marketing company. We are a training company. In fact, internally we say we're not a training company, we're a doing company, because we always want you to do it. That's why we have hands-on exercises. It's all about doing the thing. And so we're not a marketing company. We will never be a marketing company. But because so many of you have asked, we now provide and promote one single method for getting clients, and that is the 3-2-1 method. And so I'm just going to go briefly. I don't know why I didn't have it open. Usually I have it open already here. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to go over how to use the 3-2-1 method to promote yourself and your business and get clients. Okay. All right. So you can see okay. So this methodology comes from Bold House, and we are using it. We've adapted it and are using it with their permission. Okay. And here's how it works. 3 times per day. Okay. So 3 times per day, you are going to directly outreach to specific people, or I guess you're going to directly reach out to specific people. That's via email, text, DM, phone call, whatever, but they're going to be 3 individuals. Okay, this is not putting up a flyer in the Chamber of Commerce. This is not sending an email to your whole list, like everybody you know. It's not posting on social media. It is directly reaching out to 3 individuals that you know. And what are you going to say? You are going to say, hey, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Who do you know that I could connect with? Okay, you are not trying to sell your services. You don't even know if they need your services. Okay, what you're trying to accomplish here is you're trying to grow your network of potential clients. Who are the people? Who are the small business owners that have QuickBooks Online that you could potentially be of service to? Okay, the only way you're going to know who those people are is you're going to ask. Okay, so you're going to reach out 3 times per day to individuals and say, hey, just want to let you know I'm a QuickBooks Online. And by the way, if you are not a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, get that certification. Get it as soon as possible. We can help you get it in a weekend. Our course takes about 5 hours to get through, not including the test taking time. And then you can be certified. You'll have your certification, you'll have your badge, and you'll have the bragging rights to be able to go and say, hey, who is, hey, guess what? I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Okay. So you're going to do that 3 times per day. So now you will have each week, you will have reached out to 15 total people. Okay. So you'll have reached out to 15 total people, and some of those people are going to be like, sorry, I don't know anybody. And other people are going to be like, oh yeah, I know so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Okay. So of all of that activity, reaching out to those 15 people, your goal each week is to connect to 2 people who are potential clients. Okay. So after talking to 15 people, hopefully the goal is that somebody knows people, and you're going to at least connect to 2 people. Are you going to sell to those people? No, absolutely not. They don't know you. You don't know them. Like, you're not trying to sell you're still not trying to sell your services at this time. Okay. At this point, all you're going to do is say, hey, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Would love to stay connected in case you need any help. That's all you're doing. You're just staying connected. And so you're going to connect with them on LinkedIn. Okay. You want to make sure in LinkedIn that your bio says that you are a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. You don't want it to say QBO because nobody knows what that is. You want it to say QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Okay. And that, by putting it in your byline, that means anytime you do anything on LinkedIn, it doesn't just say your name, it says QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. You just want to remind people who you are, okay? So you're going to connect with them on LinkedIn. You're going to make sure your byline says QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. And then a couple of times a week, you're going to post about QuickBooks Online, okay? Now, this is where those marketing prompts come in. So you could just put them in just the way they are. We have some people that take it and put it and make it a fancy thing in Canva. We have some people that, one person in particular who puts it in ChatGPT and creates a whole article. It doesn't matter. You're just going to post it in there. Now, I don't want you to think that you're going to post this marketing prompt and 10,000 people are going to come and want to talk to you about bank rules because you posted this thing. That's not what it's about. It's about the activity. It's about constantly telling people that you are a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, okay? The other thing that you're going to do is you're going to like and comment on other people's posts, okay? So you're going to go on LinkedIn a few minutes a day. You're going to scroll through, all the people that you're connected to. And in addition to a couple of times a week posting your own, you're going to like and comment on other people's. And remember that when you do that, it's going to say your name and it's going to say QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Now, when you are commenting on other people's posts, you are not selling your services. This is not an opportunity for you to say, hey, I'm a bookkeeper. Hey, do you know where I could get any clients? No, you are being a normal, natural human being and commenting on whatever they posted. Hey, great story, brought a tear to my eye. Oh, love this. Oh, thanks for posting. Like a normal, natural human being. You are not selling these people. You're still not selling to these people. Okay. The whole goal is for you to keep waving your flag so that people know I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Okay. So that they know that when they need help, they're going to turn to you. And when they need help is the important point. Okay. Not every business owner is ready to get your services. Not everyone is, okay? And so your job is not to sell people on you. Your job is to be ready when they are ready. You want to be right in front of them when they are ready, okay? So you're going to keep waving your flag. One of the examples I always use is real estate agents, okay? How many real estate agents do you know? The reason that you know who the real estate agents are is because they are constantly telling you they are real estate agents, right? How many times do you buy a house in your lifetime? Okay. you are not, like, they're not calling you up and say, hey, do you want to buy a house? Hey, do you want to buy a house? Hey, you gonna sell your house? Like, no, they're just waving their flag. Hey, that's who I am and I can help you. Okay. In general, you want the people as this activity, you want them to know, like, and trust you, because as a bookkeeper, they're handing over the keys to the kingdom, right? They're like opening themselves up, and they're not going to do that unless they know, like, and trust you. Okay. All right. Now, from all of that activity, everything that we just did, the goal now is once per month, and this is at a minimum, once per month, you want to do a diagnostic review. How are you going to land this diagnostic review? Well, once you have developed a relationship with these people, you're they're commenting on your stuff, you're commenting on their stuff, you see them in your feed all of the time, you're simply going to reach out to them and you're going to say, hey, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro advisor. Would you like me to take a look at your books and see how you're doing? Okay, you're going to offer a diagnostic review. Do you not know? If you don't know how to do a diagnostic review, then our cleanup course teaches you how to do a diagnostic review, how to look at books, how to price your services, what you're actually looking for. If you're not in our client cleanup course, or you don't want to use our cleanup course for whatever reason, there are a ton of other resources available online to help you do a diagnostic review, okay? So, or a consultation, like whatever. Really what you want to do is you don't want to just talk to the business owner. You want to be able to look at their books, see how they're doing, provide them with an evaluation, okay? Make sure that they are on track. If you are in our cleanup course, by the way, another thing that you could do to land the diagnostic review is simply say, hey, I just finished a course on diagnostic reviews and I'm looking for practice. Okay? All right. And that's it. That is the 3-2-1 method. All right. So I am going to hop onto the chat and see if there are any remaining questions here. Okay, let's see. Iris says, I definitely do the LinkedIn one and business owners have liked and responded. Yes, exactly. That's amazing. That's exactly how what you're supposed to do. Sherry Lynn says it's all about connection. Yes, you want them to know, like, and trust you. This is a high trust job. So you want to make sure that you are, that you develop a relationship of trust with them if you want them to, again, turn over the keys to the kingdom. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is good. Corey says, one of the biggest points made by top, how do I get this no, that doesn't, I don't know how to get it so that it's like wide. It's still covering up my face. Maybe you don't care about my face. Okay. So Corey says, one of the biggest points made by top 100 pro advisors is that they do not hang out in bookkeeping and accounting groups. They spend their time in groups and communities of their niche. So if your niche is dog walkers, you'll find the dog walkers in Facebook groups and at dog walking conferences. Yes, that's exactly right. Yes. And actually the Angelique Ruers, who runs Bold House, says the same thing to the people who were in Bold House. Like the Bold House is all about teaching you how to sell to large organizations. That's why I'm in it, because we now, I have a ton of you. I love you guys who are individuals using the QBO gym. But we realized that that firms actually could use the QBO gym to train their employees. So, and if you know any firms that, or you belong to a firm or whatever, and you would like the QBO gym, you would like to find out how you can use the gym to train your employees and like get there's special pricing available, but there is also like special tools that they have. Anyway, so that's why I'm in Bold House and I'm learning all of this stuff, which is exactly applicable to you. And that's the thing that she says too, is like, don't hang out with the other people who do what you do. Hang out with the people in your niche. So excellent. Thank you. Keely says, do you charge for a diet? Why isn't that coming on? Oh, shoot. Oh, wait. Why did this disappear? There we go. Okay. So Keely says, do you charge for a diagnostic review? There are some people who do. Veronica Wasek, who is kind of like the pioneer in the diagnostic review space, she does charge for diagnostic review. And there was a woman, an accountant, in one of the presentations that I went to, who talked about doing a paid diagnostic review also. Corey does not charge for her diagnostic review, and I think there's a couple of things. Is that if they come to you, okay, you could absolutely set your process and say, I only, if you want to work for me, then you can pay me, or if you want me to work for you, then I can charge you $100 and I will take a look. It's like getting an estimate. One of the things that Veronica talks about is that you would never go to the doctor. You would never go to the doctor for a free diagnosis. Okay. And there are, she said, like, we're specialists. We need to be treated like specialists. And we, and no. So, like, I'm not going to spend my time doing a diagnostic review for you. Okay. So that's one way to look at it. Another thing that you could think about is, like, sometimes you go to like a mechanic or whatever, and you get a free estimate. So that's kind of like what this is. Other times they charge you for the estimate, but then they'll reduce it from your like first, from whatever you end up paying. I remember one time when I was young, I had a motor scooter, and I took a motor scooter in, and they said they'll charge you $75 for like the diagnosis, but if you get it fixed, then we'll take less than $75. Okay. So, or, we'll reduce that $75. Okay. So that's, so there's a lot of different ways. And let's see. Oh, Iris says, I charge after I finished Corey's training. They had no problem paying. Ooh, that's excellent. I would love to know more about that, because actually Corey's training says not to charge for the diagnostic review. So I would love to know more about that. So Teresa says, why does this keep turning off? Oh, I know what I'm doing. Okay. So Teresa says, since I don't have a lot of experience, I don't know what my niche is. And let me just put up Corey's comment before I'm still figuring this out. Okay, sorry. So Corey says, you can have an ideal client without a specific industry. Where do you think that they will be? Are they small businesses? Are they businesses with employees? Do they use a specific tool that you are an expert at? Okay, so there's lots of ways to niche down. The other thing is, and I was just talking to somebody else about this the other day. People are always asking. You can ask an industry that you are interested in, that you have some familiarity with, or that you want to find out more about. When I was building my bookkeeper business, very early in the beginning, I had this idea, and I didn't follow through with it. But if I might follow through with it if I ever decided to become a bookkeeper again. And that is, I had this idea of just becoming the bookkeeper for food trucks. And because I thought that means every time I go to a food truck, which I love, every time I go to a food truck, I can write it off as a business marketing expense. And then you can meet like the food truck, I mean, because you're talking to the owners right there, and you can like, yeah. And I love that. In fact, I met at the conference, I met this guy who I saw him the very first day, and he has a shirt. He was wearing a shirt called Bookkeeping for Painters. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is brilliant. That guy could cold call every single painter in the United States and say, hey, I'm a bookkeeper for painters. And I'm actually asked him if he would do an interview so that you guys could hear from him and like how his story, and he said he would love to. So anyway, going back to the diagnostic review, Iris said she used Corey's idea of the video and they love it. So this is one of Corey's major tips that you learn about in the cleanup course, is how to present your findings in a way that demonstrates your value and makes it irresistible, like makes them absolutely want to sign up. And obviously Iris did that, and they signed up, and it was beautiful. Okay, so all right. Iris says, anytime, what do you want to know? What did I say? Oh, somebody's calling me. I don't know. What did I ask about earlier? I said I would love to know more about that. I don't remember now. Okay, let's see. Who else? Let's see. Okay, so we've got some comments about how to pick your niche. Somebody said, who's Corey? Oh my gosh. Who's Corey? Who's Corey? Corey is our cleanup expert. She is the one that wrote our Fast and Easy QBO cleanup course, and she knows all things cleanup. She is the absolute top cleanup expert. I want to say in the world, but I don't know. Like, she's up there. I mean, there are other people that are also cleanup experts. But Corey is Corey Jankowski. She's on the call now, and so she wrote our cleanup course, and you can find out more about that. I don't know if we have the link available, but the newsletter that went out this morning has a couple links for that. And if you didn't get the newsletter, again, go to support@fastandeasyqbo.com to find out why, if you're bouncing or you unsubscribed at one point or whatever. Okay, so Esther says, I think free would be good if you're new to get the experience. Yes, like that's why I said, so we're talking about the diagnostic review, especially like if you're new, you just took Corey's course, you just learned how to do a diagnostic review, you can say, hey, I'm looking for practice. Would you mind, having us take a look at that? In fact, we had somebody who was a worker here at the house. We had some like construction work that needed to be done, and he was looking for a bookkeeper, and I said, well, I'm not a bookkeeper anymore, but I have all these students, and would you be willing to open up your books to my students? And so part of the cleanup course actually is Corey looking at this companies and doing a diagnostic review live with this actual company that allowed us to do that. So yeah. Sherry Lynn says it's not okay to niche until you figure out what you like to work with. Yes, absolutely. Corey is stealing something. I don't know what she's stealing. Sherry says it doesn't matter. This was a reply to Esther. It doesn't matter how experienced you are, your time and knowledge are worth money. That's true. That's true too. Okay, this is good. So Mike says, I don't know 15 new people a week to ask them if they know anyone who needs bookkeeping services. That said, I do have a database of over 11,000 business owners in a specific home services niche I could email. Would that work too? Warm is always going to work better than cold. How do I? Okay. So you absolutely know 15 people. And Angelique provides like a list of, Angelique being the owner of Bold House, she actually provides a list of like memory tickers or like help people, like first name every family member that you have, name, like if your kids go to like every place you've ever worked and all the people that you still know from the places of work, all the services that you use, like your dry cleaner and the grocery store and like all the things. Anyway, there's all these. If you've ever done an MLM, like that's also a typical thing, like who do you know? Who do you know exercises? You absolutely know people. And again, you're not selling your services. You're just like, hey, reconnecting them, connecting with people, saying, hey, I'm so-and-so. But yes, you can reach out to individual businesses and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm new in town, just want to let you know I'm here. And, or hey, just want to let you know I work in your specific niche, would love to stay connected. Again, do not try and sell your services to them if they don't know, like, and trust you. Okay? Maybe you'll reach out to these people and say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called. But probably not. Okay? Probably not. You just want to, all you're doing is you're connecting with them, you're posting regularly so that they can develop, trust in you that you know what you're talking about. Okay. So, yes, Corey is awesome. Here, I'll put this one. Corey is awesome. Yes, we all agree. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I'm stealing that food trucks are now my niche. Oh, yeah. Alrighty. Let's see. Wow. Okay. Find those people on LinkedIn and connect with them. Yep. Okay. I think that is all of the questions that I see. Do we have? Alrighty. All right. I think that's it, folks. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked that we got through this with hardly any technical difficulties. All I had to figure out was how to add my picture back to the bottom. And I think hopefully was my voice, one of the big questions was my voice and my picture timed together. That's one of the issues that we've been trying to solve. But I was able to share my desktop, so that worked. And so anyway, so yay for us. We got another one under our belt. That's it. Have a great weekend. I will see you on Monday for Mindset Monday. Mindset Monday is currently just whenever I can hop on and share a quick message. You can always watch the replays in the group. And then, of course, I will see you next Friday for our next exercise of the week. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. And I can't wait to hear your success story.